Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Sarah of Sew Me Sarah, and it is Friday the 18th of November 2022. You are all very welcome to my channel here, which is a channel about cross stitch and has been a channel about some other needle crafts in the past, but you would be forgiven for thinking that I've forgotten all about those. I do hope that 2023 will see the return of some quilting. But for now it's just quite difficult because, as some of you will know, we have house guests and that has meant rearranging our home and packing some things away to accommodate them. So the quilting has taken a backseat, but I am missing it, and I know that I've got a very special quilt for Miss Tootsie and Miss Charlotte to get on with, and and all of that is in my head, but it'll probably be later in 2023 before I get that picked up again. So if you haven't seen any of my quilting and would like to, you could go back and have a wee look at some of the earlier videos. There is only a small amount in there, sorry. This actually is other needlecraft, so I don't think I've ever shown any crochet on here, but I did crochet this. It's a virus shawl, and it's just keeping me warm because it's a chilly November morning here in Northern Ireland this morning. So since the last time, I want to say thank you for your well wishes. I had quite a heavy cold, lurgy last time, and it has passed. So still a little bit froggy from time to time, but hopefully it won't interfere with today's recording. I had one of you ask, Yvonne asked if I would do a little demonstration on how to measure a piece of finished stitching for custom frame ordering. So Yvonne, yes, I will do a little tutorial on that. It won't be expert because I am no expert. I was hoping to do it for today, but I didn't get a chance. But what I will do, and actually probably makes more sense, is I will include it as a separate video, as a Flosstube extra. And hopefully in the next week or two, I will be able to pull that together for you. So thanks for asking, Yvonne. And I'm happy to do that. I will just be another little while before I get round to it. For those of you who don't know, who maybe haven't been with me since the beginning, I do have a number of Flosstube extra videos. So if you go on my channel, you will see them labelled as Flosstube extra. I think there are just 6 of them, but those are little videos which are more kind of tutorial based, or a little show you how demonstration based. Like there's one for dyeing with Dylon dyes, the powdered dyes, and there's one about wrapping a hoop. I think I have one on my floss organisation as well. So there are a number there if you would like to have a nosy, and maybe you weren't aware of them because it has been a little while since I have mentioned any of the Flosstube extra videos. I won a chart, which was it's always very exciting to hear your name mentioned, called for a giveaway win. So on Saturday past, Chelsea and Priscilla from Stitching with the Housewives called my name, and I won a PDF chart of my choice from their Etsy shop, and I chose Snowed in Winter, which is this chart. I'll show you. Here you go. Snowed in Winter. When you win a chart of your choice from their shop, it's actually really difficult because they are prolific designers. Priscilla is a prolific designer, and Chelsea obviously does all her model stitching, and there's just so many. I mean, they are putting out 3 charts a week, and usually, and that really mounts up. So it was difficult to choose, but in the end I chose Snowed in Winter because I do love me a snow globe, and I have won a giveaway with them before, and I actually won Snowed in Bloom before, which is a snow globe with some tulips in it for springtime. So I thought it might be nice to have another one in this series and put those hopefully into next year's stitching plans. So thank you to those of you who let me know that you'd heard my name being mentioned so that I didn't miss out on my win. I do try to watch Priscilla and Chelsea every week. They give me a good laugh. I really do like them, and I find them very inspirational. I obviously don't keep up with all of their stitching because they put out so much, but I love their style. I love Priscilla's designs, and I love her finishing, even though it's not perhaps my finishing style, but certainly I would be very inspired by that. So if you are new to Flosstube and haven't found Stitching with the Housewives, I would heartily recommend them. And I would recommend that you go back also and watch some of their very early videos, which were recorded before they were designing and selling. So you get to see a little bit more about their own stitching in those videos. A little bit like I'm here telling you about my stitching, they were telling us about their stitching before their design. So there are so many videos, you may not want to watch them all, but I did watch them all from the beginning. I went back and watched them all, and it's really, really interesting to see their journey over the years. Their journey from being stitchers to being designers to being heavily involved with Fat Quarter Shop and running retreats and being the guests at retreats as well. Sorry, they don't run retreats, but they are the guests at retreats, and how all of that works. So I am in awe of them, and I'm very grateful to them for all that they do for the community to continue inspiring and making us laugh. So it was lovely to win another one of their charts. I have something exciting to announce, and you may have heard it if you are a subscriber of Stitchy Things. Joanita from the Netherlands at Stitchy Things announced that she and I are going to have another stitch along next year. So this year we did the stitch along for the Blue Flower, the Gentle Rain, and it was so lovely to have someone to stitch alongside. There was no pressure, there was no deadline date or anything like that. But I think we both had in mind that we would stitch it in the year, so that we would start the Gentle Rain and then we would finish it in 2022, and we both have. And I've shown you my finish, and it is fully finished, and it is on Charlotte's bedroom wall now. So it was a really nice journey to have someone, you just know someone else is stitching along with you. You might get a little bit competitive, or you might just be a little bit inspired. Oh, she's moved on, I better get back out and move along. So we wanted to do something else, something again next year. And we both had this chart, so we have decided that Rejoice Evermore by Brenda Gervais will be our 2023 stitch along. We're going to use hashtag RejoiceSal. I know it's not massively inventive, but we're going to use RejoiceSal as our hashtag. And we are hoping that some of you will join us, because we know that this chart was extremely popular at its release, I think in the March market. And we know that lots of you have purchased it. So we're not encouraging, or we're not asking you to go and buy it, but I would imagine lots of you already have it. And if you haven't started stitching, you might like to join us in 2023. Even if you have started stitching, and just, haven't finished, you can still join us. We would be very happy to have everyone who would like to join us to stitch along. So if you would like to join us, we are going to start on the 14th of February, and that is Valentine's Day. We didn't make it New Year, New Start, because I think there are lots of other plans for that. And we thought we would leave it a little bit into the new year, which gives all of you plenty of time to gather the supplies for your chart. So 14th of February is the start date. There isn't a finish date. Again, I think we would both like to have a finish in 2023. So we will be working on it together and trying to keep each other motivated and inspired. We will use the hashtag on Instagram, and we hope that you will join us. So please let us know if you're planning to join us, and we'll see you then, but we will tell you more about it. In the meantime, I am collecting threads, and I have a lovely piece of platinum Zweigart linen, which I hope to use for it, and yeah, it's fun to have plans. Please join us if you can, and please go and watch and subscribe to Joanita at Stitchy Things too, because she's joining me in this SAL next year. Okay, let's move on to my stitching. It has been 3 weeks again, I think, since I was able to record, so I have quite a bit to share. First of all, I have a fully finished stocking. This stitch, oops, is one of the Lizzie Kate Floor Mix Sample stockings. So this pattern is Floor Mix Sample Treats 2017. And this is Hark the Herald Angels Sing. You can see that I've stitched it and I have fully finished it. There you go. I added a little bit of a gold braid trim as a loop. I did try to finish it all the way around with the gold trim, but I was making a bad job of it and it just didn't look good. So I decided to just leave it as it was and just added the loop to be able to hang it. So this little series that I have stitched, because there are other years, and I've showed them in previous floss tubes, other years with other mini stockings on, and I chose 5 of them to stitch for little Christmas gifts. So here are all 5 fully finished Christmas stockings ready to be gifted this year. So I really enjoyed stitching these. These were maybe two nights or 3 nights stitching work, and then I spent last Saturday, I did hold the sewing machine out and I added a little bit of wadding to the inside. I haven't quilted it because it's quite small. It didn't really need the quilting to hold it as such. And I used the backing fabric. 4 of them have this fabric, and one of them, this one? No. Oh, this one. This one. That's a little, just a little check, red check. So I just ran out of the other fabric, but they're all, there's one stocking going to each individual, so it's not as if it's not a matching set any longer. So I'm really pleased with these and would recommend them. The hardest part, I think, was getting a stocking template. I stitched these on a 32 count fabric, so they're about 5.5 inches top to bottom, and I can't really show you the chart, but on the chart, very quickly flash, there is an outline of the stocking, but the chart isn't true to life size, so it's just giving you an idea of the placement of your stocking shape. So I used a light board really, and I put the piece of stitched fabric down, and I tried to do my best to draw a good stocking shape around that to give me a nice shape. There are actually a couple of these are a little bit bigger than the others. I think this one and this one, I think these 2 are just slightly wider, just a tiny bit. So that was the hardest part. I thought really putting them together wasn't that big a deal, but then I know how to sew Christmas stockings. I'm very familiar with that from the quilting. These ones are obviously just little, but I recommend the charts, I recommend the patterns. They're lovely to stitch and very fun to finish. So that is my mini Christmas stocking gifts. Then I have a big finish, as in a very long finish, and it is Hive Rules by Primrose Cottage Stitches. This pattern booklet was gifted to me by one of you lovely viewers. Thank you again, you know who you are. I adore this pattern. So I have been stitching away, and I had hoped to get it finished, and I have. It is very long, so I'm not sure. Oh yeah, I'll get it all in. There we go. It's beautiful. I stitched it on 25 count Lugana, which is why mine is so big, 2/2. The Lugana is vintage sand, which has got this lovely mottling in it. I really, really like this fabric, and I'm glad that I did it. You know, stitched it a bigger 2/2 on this fabric. I have no idea how I'm going to finish it because it's so big, but you know, that's a problem for another day. And here we go. Hive rules: be sweet like honey, mind your own beeswax, always be humble and kind, believe in yourself and others, love and be loved. I absolutely love the DMC thread choices for these. I think the colours are fabulous, and Lindsay Waite, who did the designing for Primrose Cottage Needleworks, did a fantastic job of the colours. So that is my finish of Hive Rules. It will wait until 2023 for a full finish because I have some other designs in their B series that I want to do, and I'm gonna think about how I want to finish those. So in the pattern booklet there is a bonus chart included, as you can see, and there's no picture of it, so I can't show it to you, but I can show you the real thing because I finished Hive Rules earlier than I had expected, had a little bit of time, and I spent another couple of nights just stitching this bonus chart that says welcome to our hive. So this one will possibly be a pillow finish. Same colours, same idea, but just another beautiful addition. I did have a moment because I stitched this box, the border, the sort of honey coloured border, and then I stitched in the letters, and I was filling in the background, and as I filled in the background I realised that my letters were different colours. They were not all B5200, and I don't know where the other thread came from. Maybe it was blanc, but it was definitely, it looked more of a yellowish white next to the 5200. On its own it wouldn't have looked yellow at all, but I had 2 letters in one thread and 2 in another, and I have no idea where the other thread came from because as far as I can see there is only B5200 in that project bag. Anyway, I worked on, and I thought, oh, maybe you'll not really notice once I get the background filled in, and but halfway through I couldn't take it anymore and I had to fix it. So I unpicked the H and the I, which didn't take very long to either unpick or restitch, and was definitely worth having the fix. But it's really very curious to me how those other white threads got into that bag, because there is nothing, I have been through the bag, there is no other skein of floss, so I don't know where they came from. Surely there couldn't have been 2 random strands of something else in that skein, so it must have got picked up accidentally, which is entirely possible when you're working on multiple projects, I suppose, really. So there you go. Again, this was stitched on the same fabric, 25 count Lugana by Swigart in vintage sand. It is sometimes listed as vintage June, I've noticed, but I love this colour, and again stitched 2/2 with the called for DMC flosses. So that is welcome to our hive. So those were good finishes that I'm really pleased about. I also finished the square tile motif sampler. Now, I explained, I think, on my last video, this is the pattern. This is my title. It is from 2x2 Stitch Art on Etsy. And this is a 7x7 design. And on my last video, I explained that while I love it, I have too many things to stitch, and I am not going to be able to give it all of that time to do all 49 of the little geometric designs, which are beautiful as you close up. So I decided that I was just going to stop at the end of the second row, and I had good motivation once I'd made that decision, and I used this as my daily thread. So every day that I stitched, I picked one length of thread and stitched it in. Some days when you're doing that, you are encouraged to then keep working on it for another half an hour or something. So this finished up nicely. My patterns, the designs that I chose to put in, once I had changed my mind and knew I wasn't going to stitch the whole thing, there were some of the patterns further down the chart that I really liked and wanted to include, so I switched them in for ones that I didn't like just as much, although I love them all. But if I'm only going to stitch 14 of them, then I chose 14 that I really loved. So there were a few that I have transposed into a different position on the chart. This is a lovely chart to read. It's from Etsy, as I said. It will be linked below. It is a lovely chart to read. I think these would make beautiful little ornaments or little pillows individually if you wanted some tiny pillows to sort of fill out a dough bowl in any colour. And so I didn't discard this for any other reason than that I just have so many other things I want to stitch. So I'm not sure what I will do with this. It could, obviously, because it's geometric, it could be turned around to any direction, and I could frame it. I might use it as I thought I'd possibly use it as a band across the centre of a cushion for the sofa, possibly. So it might be worth holding on to until my sofa cushions are a bit ratty and I could replace it with that. Or it could be a band across a project bag. I will find a purpose for it, and I enjoyed stitching it very much. I really do love the geometric designs in this, and I'm very happy that it's finished, albeit that I abbreviated it considerably. So that is the square tile motifs. Those were all of my finishes. I did get some good work on my whips as well. The first whip I'm going to show you is Glitter Village. It is a Country Cottage Needleworks patterns. There are 9 patterns in the series. I'm going to stitch all 9 in a 3x3 setting. This was house number 3, and this was the one I have been working on. So here we go. I have ironed this, but it can be hard to get the hoop marks off. So this is house number 3 over here, and it's looking very wintry and very pretty. I really do love this. I think actually I probably need, if I could be monogamous with this, it would go faster, because as I work on the sparkle fabric, this is a 32 count raw natural sparkle by Zweigart. Sparkle Natural Silver, sorry. It's a 32 count Belfast linen. And as I work with it, I get used to it. Then if I put it away for 3 or 4 weeks, when I come back, it's like having to reacclimatize every time. So it probably would be better to just keep working on it, but that's not the way it works here. So I'll just deal with it. It's not super hard to work on. It's just a little bit different, really. And I do find my stitching a little bit slower. But I think that it is worth it when you see the sparkle in there, particularly given that this set of patterns is called Glitter Village. I think it works beautifully. So this is where I have wanted to be. I have the first 3 patterns stitched by the end of December, end of the year. So I don't know if I will pick this up again in December this year or not, but I am where I had planned to be, so that's a good milestone. It may get left until sometime in the new year, at which point I'd like to pick it up again and get a few more of the houses done, certainly in 2023. If not all of them, it would be lovely to get it finished for next Christmas, but you know how that goes. So that is my progress with Glitter Village. I am using the called for flosses, which are mainly overdyed flosses. I'm not always very good at remembering to tell you about my fabric and floss. If you want to know, please just ask. I'd be very happy to tell you. It is just forgetfulness on my part. Next, I made more progress on my dimensions kit of the Oh Holy Night Advent calendar. This is perhaps the longest whip in Flosstube history. This is a whip that I started in 2006 for my firstborn, who was 21 the other week. So he's not going to want it anymore, but Charlotte might. So I have picked it back up this year and have made good progress. I have stitched now all of the little ornaments that get, I don't know if you can see, but there's a numbered grid there for the 25 days, and there are little ornaments which were stitched on plastic canvas that then get hung on those 25 days. So I have stitched all of the little ornaments now, and I am working up here in the stable scene. I made some good progress in the few nights that I was working on it this time. I think I had this little bunny and I think that's a squirrel in there. So this time I worked on the manger and the straw, and I put in this whole donkey. So, and I have some outlining in blue. I think that's going to be Joseph. Yes, it's going to be Joseph. I'm outlining in blue of Joseph's robe. So it's quite a lot of stitching. It's a 16 count Ada that came in the kit. It's a lovely cream colour. It works beautifully. It stitches nicely, and I'm very happy with that. Clearly there's going to be a huge amount of backstitch to catch up on, but I am enjoying the fact that I am making progress, and I do see progress when I sit down to stitch with this for a few nights. So it will have a little bit more time between now and Christmas, but clearly it's not going to happen for this year. But that's okay. I am absolutely thrilled to be making good. Sorry, just a few cats passed by and I wondered what they were doing. That's why I got distracted. Yes, I'm thrilled to be making progress, and it will be nice to one day eventually have this finished. So that's Oh Holy Night Advent calendar. Another Christmassy stitch is and another dimensions is the Gold Collection Petite, A Kiss for Snowman. This one is intense. I think I've said that before. You're probably tired of hearing me say it, but it's not quite full coverage, but almost. You have stitches that are sometimes stitched a half stitch with one thread, a half stitch with two threads, a full stitch with one thread, a full stitch with two threads, a half stitch with three threads, or a half stitch with four threads. So there's a lot of paying attention to what's going on in the charting. It does, however, lend itself to fabulous textures and variegation. So when I last showed this, I didn't have any of this bottom part in, really, or her hand. So I finished the face and started the hat, and I was working up here. This up here took forever. Lots and lots of teeny tiny stitches, not confetti, but in fact when I'm showing it close up it doesn't look that bad at all, but just lots of counting, lots of thread changing, lots of strand number changes, and all of that. But you do get terrific effects from it, so it is worth it if you have the patience to do it. I know some people don't like it, but it is worth it if you can do it. So that is my progress. Since then I've added in the bottom of the snowman, I've started her hand and her arm coming down into her coat. Now once I had finished with the square tile motifs, then I didn't have a daily thread stitch anymore, so I decided to replace it with this design from Deb at Frog Cottage Stitches, and it is called Kindness Matters. I had started this earlier in the year but didn't, I think I had the word kindness in and a little bit of the top border, tiny bit of the side border in. So I just made this my daily thread. When I'm stitching a daily thread stitch, it is easier to choose something that you're not having to change colours with a lot. So this is one thread in the border and one thread in the letters. So that makes for a good daily stitch. You don't want to have to be changing. You want to be able to use your full length of thread if that's the point of your daily stitch, really. So I have done a few days on it, and I have been able to extend the border down the side, and I'm starting across the bottom now. And last night I had a friend round for some stitching chat, and I managed to do this whole half of an M. That was it. So I am not good at tucking and stitching. So that doesn't augur well for attending retreats if I ever want to do. But I'll see. I think the lesson there is to choose something else and to do what all of you good folks out there on Flosstube do, which is outline something and do fill in when you're chatting and stitching. So I have noticed I don't have a lot of patterns that require fill in, so I'm not sure why, but anyway, I definitely needed to think more strategically about what stitching I take to social events or when I have a friend around to stitch. Anyway, it is good to see a little bit of progress on this, which I didn't expect any further progress this year. But as I said, I've been able to pick this up as my daily thread. So I think I will keep it as my daily thread for the time being, certainly until the end of the month and quite possibly through December as well. That's Kindness by Deb at Frog Cottage Designs. Sorry, it's called Kindness Matters, not just kindness. And then I have one sneaky little new start. Wasn't planned, but they never are really. And what I have for this one is, well, my excuse for this one is I had a little bit of the leftover Lugana from the Hive Rules, the 25 count Lugana. And I was sifting through some charts of my own and ones that I had been donated, and I had 2 copies of Yellowbird by La-Di-Da. I had my own copy and then I was gifted a copy, so at some stage I will pass the other copy on to you, but I have a different share for today, so it's not this one today, but in the future it will be. So I had Yellowbird by La-Di-Da, and I love this little pattern. And when I saw that I had a remnant of the 25 count Lugana, I thought, what if I tried to stitch it 1/1 on 25 count Lugana? So I need a board to be able to show you. Just find one in all the piles here. Put a board behind it. It's the wrong way around. So this is my start. You can see how teeny weeny it will be. Yellowbird. Here's my hand for reference. This is Yellowbird by La-Di-Da. And I am stitching with a classic Colourworks Queen Bee. I'm not sure if it's going to show the variegation very well. That fabric is looking a little bit grey, but it's not really grey. It is more of a sand colour. And that is my teeny tiny start on my teeny tiny stitching. I am not going to become a 1/1 stitcher in the main, but it is nice, I think, sometimes to mix things up a little bit and push yourself a little bit. I don't like the slipping threads and that, you know, where the thread slips under the weave of the fabric. But I'm managing, and it's just getting used to it and getting used to trying to keep the thread in the right position. But it's going to be toady, like so, and I'll make it into a little pillow probably for a display. And yeah, I'm really very happy with that. And again, I had no excuse to start other than that I had a piece of fabric and was flicking through some charts. So there we go. You can never promise that there will be no new starts. You have to move where the inspiration strikes, don't you? So I have enjoyed stitching that, and as long as my light is good, obviously, and usually good magnification. In daylight I can do without magnification, but the light has to be really good. So that is pretty much all of my stitching. So I think I'm doing well. I'm really pleased to be making progress towards the goals that I had in my head for where I wanted to be by the end of the year. So I have some of those finished and off the whip board, making room for lovely new things next year. And there are still plenty of days left to tackle the other projects that I had in my plans that I wanted to bring to a certain point. So I want to do some more days on the Oh Holy Night Advent calendar. I want to work more on the Kiss for Snowman, and I have my Things Unseen sampler, which I'm wanting to finish the first page of that pattern, the first pattern, by the end of the year. So that's probably one I'll pick up in the next couple of weeks, the remaining part of November. Along with my Alice in Wonderland Sal as well. That is the oil forest embroidery pattern. I have another couple of pages of that I want to be able to kind of tick off. Again, I'm sort of planning and positioning myself for new starting in 2023, and for having a good base point. So that is really where my stitching plans are going to take me, I hope, in the next couple of weeks, all being well. So oh yes, and also, and good job I have the notes down here, the family patchwork, which is that very large modern folk embroidery piece that was the 2020 Sal. So I want to finish page 7 of that, up to the end of page 7 of that. So I am enjoying having plans. I'm enjoying having a little bit more flexibility with my time now that work isn't so manic. And I do have a little bit more time to organise myself, really, even if not always to actually stitch better. But I do find that whenever I'm a bit more organised, then I stitch more productively. So that's all working out at the moment, and long may it continue. I'm still musing my plans for 2023 to possibly have a no new pattern purchase. I have been looking through my current stash of charts, and I can see how it would be very easy to do no new pattern purchases and not interrupt my stitchy flow at all next year. I take on board that it's very difficult to resist the temptation, and I think it'll probably not be a no new patterns at all, but a very limited pattern purchase schedule for next year. So I do think there will be something in that for me, because I really, really do want to stitch the things that I've been flicking through that I already own, lots of which I already have most of, if not all of, kitted up. So I have choices to make in the next few weeks, and I will hopefully be able to share some of those with you in my floss tubes in December, to let you see what I've got and what I might stitch or hope to stitch next year. So yeah, so the no new purchase, no new pattern purchase idea is still in there in some shape or form, and it's just for me, just to keep me going. If you want to join me, by all means, once I decide what I'm actually going to do, by all means, you're very welcome to join me, but I'm not trying to crush anybody else's purchasing ability, just my own, just to calm it down a little bit for now, and allow me to actually stitch the things I already have. That's all that it's about. So we'll see. I will see what I decide and what I come back to you with in one of the December videos. Before I go today, I do have a share away, well, 2 actually, and I have 2 charts to share. These were very kindly gifted to me to either stitch or pass on. I would very happily stitch either of these, but I am being realistic. I know that I have a very healthy stash of my own, and I wanted to share them with you. So if you would like to enter for this share away, either of these two patterns, I need you to be over 18 so that it's all legal when I ask for your address. I would like you to be a subscriber to the channel, please, and I will post internationally. I also ask that you don't put in your comment any words that will attract the giveaway trolls. So don't say giveaway, winner, prize, freebie, don't say anything like that in your comment, and that keeps the likelihood of the trolls at bay and gives all of my viewers, all you proper stitchers out there, a better chance of actually winning. Okay, that's enough blurb. Let's show you what I'm offering today. So today we have a chart by Dirty Annie's, and it's called High Cotton Welcome. It's a very pretty welcome sign, as you can see. The chart is lovely. It is a colour chart. Very briefly, that's part of it. And the called for fabrics are the called for flosses are DMC. There's not too many of them. So if you would like this chart, please use the word welcome in your comment. And then there is this beautiful chart called Joyful Song. Isn't it lovely? See, I could very happily stitch that, but then I could very happily stitch a million things. This is a chart by Samplers Not Forgotten, and it's a black and white chart. It's lovely, and I encourage you to enter for this if you love this as much as I do. Use the word joyful in your comment if you would like to be in the running for this share away. So we have joyful and we have welcome. Okay, and those are the share aways. They will probably be the last shares of 2022, just because we're getting closer to Christmas and all of that silly mailing season. So I would hope to get these out hopefully early-ish in December in the mail to you, and then we can resume some more giveaways and shares in the new year. So thank you so much to those of you who send me patterns to be able to share them with this community, to be able to inspire, encourage and motivate others, and that's what community is all about. So thank you to those of you who gifted things to me to pass on through this channel. As I said, I am hoping to be back in December. I would like to be back for 2 more videos before the end of the year. One will be a regular Flosstube updating you on my stitchy progress, and the other one I would like to do a video that reviews 2022 and looks forward to 2023 with some plans and the whip parade, where it's at the minute. Now the whip parade isn't going to be very long unless I start a million things between now and then, but that is not the plan. If you've been watching the last 3 or 4 videos, you know that I have been working to finish my whips or just to reduce the number so that my Sweet 16 will have my Sweet 16 board will have openings for new starts in the new year. So I think maybe I'll have 7 or 8 whips to show in that whip parade, so it's not going to be one that takes 3 hours. But yes, I'd like to review 2022 and how that's been on this channel and what we've been doing together, and have a wee look forward to my plans for 2023, which, I don't know, there is something about a new start, whether that's, you know, with the new school year in September or the new year itself in January, that I like. I think it gives it a freshness. It is sort of arbitrary, to be honest. You can have a new start any day. It's a bit like dieting, isn't it? You always say, I'm going to wait till Monday or the next month or whatever, when actually you could just start today. So it is arbitrary in that sense, but there is something nice about the planning for something in a new season. So those are my plans for the next couple of videos before the end of the year. I hope they work out. I hope that, that I will be able to find the time and the space in the house, because it is still busy and it's not very often that there's actually peace and quiet to record. But fingers crossed. So for the next couple of weeks, I want to wish those of you in the US who celebrate Thanksgiving, I want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. I hope you will have a good family time and a good time recalling all that you are thankful for at this time of harvest and just generally in your lives. I want to wish everyone else, some calm and peace as we all approach the busyness of the holiday season. I know that it is starting here, the shopping, the planning, you know, all of that, and it is a lovely season, but it can be easy to get swept up in the madness of it sometimes. And I think we could all do with a little bit of calm this year in particular. Well, I know I certainly can anyway, so maybe I shouldn't speak for all of you, but I wish you all calm and pleasure in the season rather than it just being frantic and a chore. So that's it. Until the next time, please stay well and stitch happy. Bye.